Amandla. Fella COSATU. Very, very hot slogan. When you usher in the leader of the alliance to come and address ourselves. Chairperson of COSATU in the province, the Provincial Secretary, and the PEC Collective, the leadership of the affiliates of COSATU in the province, the Deputy General Secretary of COSATU, Comrade Soliphetwe, the leadership of the African National Congress here, led by Comrade Florence Razilane, the leadership of South African Communist Party, Comrade Machike Tobejane, Comrade Sipodi Khale from Sanko, General Bra-Aik Mapoto, the stalwart and veteran of our struggle, one of those comrades who campaigned in Wankie and Spolilo in 1967. The personification of the Mkondo Wesizwe, General Bra-Aik Mapoto. Delegates, representing affiliates, shop stewards, everybody. I've seen Comrade Chairperson, we have leaders at national level here, Comrade Sontaga Mantaga and Comrade Mike Shingange. Allow me to acknowledge their presence in this Congress. Comrade, good morning. We have been sent here. If it is no longer morning, allow me to say good day. We have been sent here by the leadership of the African National Congress in the province, under the stewardship of Comrade Chupuma Tabata, who is outside the country, and Comrade Florence Razilane, who we have just deployed to deal with one critical matter which your chairperson has raised here at this Congress. To come here and extend warm and revolutionary greetings to you all. But secondly, to say, before we say many things, we are here to support you in this Congress, in your deliberations, to ensure that you have a successful provincial Congress. And we wish the best to come out of this provincial Congress. We want to remind you that your Congress is taking place, Comrade Soli, in a very critical period in history, especially the month of July. If you consider the political significance of the month of July in the socialist arena. Just to remind the comrade that the month of July is the month which Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, and Raul Castro led a regiment of 82 from the Sierra Maestra Mountains to wage an onslaught against the obnoxious Batista regime in Cuba. You would know that socialism or communism was not fashionable at that time. We speak a period 1959. The comrades were unflappable, they were unflinching, they fought ferociously and crumbled the Batista regime. And that is why today you have Cuba still standing, unwavering, a towering beacon of socialist progress. Good in education, good in health, good in solidarity, good in dignity, good in embracing humanity. The month of July, comrades, is the month on which, on the 14th of July, 1789, the French Revolution reached its highest pinnacle when it stormed the Bastille, which was a symbol of oppression. The storming of the Bastille itself was not an end to the French Revolution, but it culminated in 1791 with the formation of the Paris Commune, the first form of socialist control, the forerunner. The forerunner of the great October Revolution of 1917, where for the first time we saw a confederation of communist like-minded associations under the banner of the USSR, led by led by the abilities of the great Marxist and revolutionary of the time, Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, who was better known of his revolutionary pen name of Lenin. In the same month of July, this is the month which in 1921, a revolutionary gargantuan was born here in South Africa. A revolutionary giant, the South African Communist Party, which has been the conscience of the South African struggle for liberation. In the ANC, we have always understood that the struggle of the communists and the national struggle led by the ANC and the class struggle led by the Communist Party, all of them have a dialectical connection. Because each and every national struggle has a class content, each and every class struggle has a national content. That is why today, Comrade Chairperson, for the first time, we are able to all of us say, we live in a country where the minority of the majority own 87% of the land, and the majority of the majority own 13% of the land. And we must now confront this question not as a national question, but as a class question. Because in Marxist terms, land is not capital. It only becomes capital when it is used for capitalist purposes. But you will understand that land can be used in a capitalist environment, not to accumulate, not to pursue capitalism. But because of the untrammeled and cutthroat system of capitalism we have in the world today, that is why we find ourselves where we are. And the African National Congress, through your influence, has correctly characterized the current phase of struggle as the second phase of transition, where we must pursue the agenda of radical economic transformation. And the features of radical economic transformation, one of them will include the expropriation of land without compensation. This is a resolution we have taken at our 54th National Conference, comrades, and we are going to pursue this resolution. We are going to ensure that it is implemented. Our land was gone, and when it was taken away from our people, it was not bought. So the understanding should be that government that preceded the ANC government have taken the land away from the people of South Africa through pieces of legislation, starting with the Land Act of 1913 up to the Herzog Bills of 1936, until the whole land was gone. So we are also going to use the same statute, the supreme statute in the country, to get the land back to our people, because it was taken through statute passed by the legislature. So we must use this constitution to get the land back. And people must know that once we change the constitution, once we change section 25 of the constitution, it becomes legal to take land without compensation, because that will be the law of the country. Because there are people who move around telling people that it is illegal to take land. This will be infringement of the property clause. We are going to start by changing the constitution so that as the supreme law of this country, it empowers us to expropriate, not only expropriate, but without compensation. We are looking forward, Comrade Chairperson, like you said, as the African National Congress, to work well with you. Working well with you means that we are going to have contradictions, but the contradictions can never escalate to enmity. You also have contradictions in the human body, but those contradictions complement each other. In the process of metabolism, you are having the process of digestion and excretion. The two are antipodes, but they complement each other for your body to always remain in good health. Because you can't just consume. You must understand these dialectical contradictions. They contradict each other, but they are good for your metabolism. So we are going to have these contradictions within the alliance. The ANC, by orientation, has some socialist tendencies. You might have seen some of the policies we have passed in government, social grants and all those things. But entirely, we are not a socialist organization. And the Communist Party in orientation is hardcore communist, in terms of ideological posture, in terms of everything. What we are going to request from all of you is that let us raise our issues with integrity, in a disciplined manner, but in a militant way. Because militancy, because discipline, Chairperson, discipline without militancy is cowardice. And militancy without discipline is anarchy. So the two dialectical arms, there must be equality of arms between discipline and militancy. Be militant without being a coward, and you must also be militant without being anarchic. This is what is going to bring back the confidence of all members of the alliance components. And this is what is going to help us to lead society. There are vexatious issues that have been raised here. Vexatious issues that have been raised here. Comrades, let me assure you, in the week that we have been elected as the leadership of the ANC, we have taken all our regions to conferences. By the end of this month, we shall have taken all our sub-regions to conferences. I spoke to the provincial secretary of COSATU yesterday. I told him before the end of this month, we shall have met our alliance partners to look at how there are issues coming out of SAMU. Chairperson, aside, I've spoken with the SAMU provincial secretary, Comrade Apan. We agreed that we are going to create a platform to deal with matters that afflict them. And including many other affiliates that have issues. We very well agree with you that you are not in alliance with government, you are in alliance with the African National Congress. And so every time you have issues, you must know that you have the African National Congress that is ready to listen to you. The matters that you have raised here, we are going to make sure they happen. Because if we have a limping government, that government will never be able to provide services to our people, and the dream for a better life will never be realized. So we are going to attend very, very quickly to those issues, and in no time, there will be water under the bridge. The last matter that I want to talk about is the matter of VBS. We can't keep quiet, Comrade Chairperson. We have met as the PwC yesterday. We released a statement. And we are taking matters forward. The appeal that we are making is that, there are people who want to move the cart before the horse. And that becomes very problematic because we move from the real issues and start to concentrate on personalities. Comrades, we are in a cutthroat capitalist system. And this is what comrades must understand. In the past, the difficulties that VBS is experiencing today were the same difficulties experienced by ABSA. And the apparatuses that were there previously bailed out ABSA. And today we have been told that there is a curator who has appointed Nedbank to go and relocate clients of VBS to Nedbank. We are very loud and clear, Chairperson. We are saying no to Nedbank. One is that Nedbank rejected Castasi Minya when her athletic career was nascent and blossoming. They refused to give her sponsorship because she was black and African. Secondly, Nedbank is elitist and racial because nowhere in rural areas do you have visible presence of Nedbank. It is not a bank for the poor. It is not a bank for the working class. It's not a bank for the rural communities. We don't want them in our communities because they have never identified with the poorest masses of our people. They cannot be brought today by curators who hold monopoly interests to come and liquidate the only beacon of commercial interest of African people and replace them with a world monopoly. We can't allow that. But comrades, be that as it may, you would understand with us as the African National Congress that we are not only a political organization, but we are also a leader of society. The ANC, when it speaks in a forum like this, it can speak agitated. But when we go out, because now we speak to South Africa, we speak to Limpopo, we must go and moderate our language. That you must understand. Because we don't only lead ourselves. It's a reality, it's a very bitter pill to swallow. And this is one of the disadvantages of being a ruling party. Because when you are a ruling party, sometimes you don't want to scratch festering sores. You must always find a way out of fall. But you know, deep in your heart, you are bleeding, you are feeling pain. You are sympathizing with the rural communities in the region of Bembe. Our sympathies go out to those Stockfells, those other ones, the Sebesebe, Comrade Miriam Ramat. Those bereaved families that should bury their deceased and are unable to do that. Our first stop will be to meet the leadership there in that region, in particular, the King of the Bavenda, so that they must know that they also have our support as the African National Congress in dealing with all those matters to ensure that they are resolved. Amandla! Forward to a successful provincial congress. Forward! Amandla! Thanks very much.